Hello cryptocurrency fans, thanks for tuning in to another video. I thought I would record some thoughts here. It is August 20th, 2017. I haven't done a video in a little bit, but I didn't feel a huge need to because Bitcoin was just pretty much moving higher every day. But we have seen a little bit of pullback to this first layer of blue level support on my chart here. And so we may have seen a little bit of a top here past few days, like August 17th the price hit about 44.80, so it didn't quite make 4,500. I was in my previous video, it was back down in here in the 2,700 level, and I was saying it would be good to get a position before August 1st. And then we've had this this bigger move higher, and I was kind of targeting this 3,600 range as a nice little move for this leg of the run, but we kind of blew through that and then cracked 4,000 and then almost 4,500. But now we are pulling back, so I figured it'd be a good point to make a video at this point and just see where we go from here. So this is a daily chart of Bitcoin. And so we've had a few pullbacks through the blue layer of support. Now, one of the places that I like to buy as sort of more of a just buying the dip strategy is when the price pulls back to this purple line, which tracks up through the price movement. This is at like right now about 34.50 kind of price range. So if we did get a drop to that level, that would be a great entry, and I would probably add to my position there. And then if it continues down to the long-term trend support, which right now is right at about 3,000, I would make a bigger purchase. So that's kind of a good way to again kind of buy the dip strategy, where you don't really care what it does day to day. You're more looking for these great entry points that, as this thing moves up higher, you're just able to kind of add to your position, and it's a good layer to do it because the price action tends to kind of hit that layer of support and then just kind of bounce off it. So it's almost like a little trampoline, and if you can get your order in there, then you're probably going to be in profit as it turns back up, and that's sort of a nice kind of floor level to be able to add to your position. So we have had a pullback. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 days of selling here. Probably some profit taking and just pause in the buying in the past few days. Overall, very healthy. We have cracked this first layer of blue support, so it is possible now that we would drift down to this purple line. So we might see some price movement over the next few days to get down to this maybe 34.50 level. I don't know if it'll go that far. It may just kind of hit 37.50 because I feel like this has a lot of momentum right now in the upward direction. So we might just have a little pullback and then kind of move higher from there, or we could this could be the short term pullback, and Monday hits and we just kind of keep rolling, maybe to 5,000. So we'll just have to watch it. But this is kind of a crucial area because it definitely could drop more from here, and that sort of leads me to a move that I'm thinking about making, and that is just exchanging some, definitely not all, but maybe just a portion, maybe 15-20% of my Bitcoin for Litecoin, because I feel like Litecoin's just been kind of sitting here, just elongating, kind of going sideways with a range of like maybe 50 to 42-ish kind of range. And I feel like this is really going to be moving up higher in the next few weeks or maybe a month. And if Bitcoin is kind of topping out, and we might see a pullback, then it would be kind of a good strategy to trade some of this at a higher price for some Litecoin that's just kind of been sitting here, kind of floating around in this tight range, that maybe it wants to make another kind of move to maybe 60 or set a new high. and it could be setting up a good trade to swap some Bitcoin for Litecoin. One of the charts that I like to use that kind of graphs this is this Litecoin to Bitcoin kind of ratio. And so you can see we broke through the cloud here, and so now we're kind of in bearish territory, which means that Bitcoin is kind of having the upper hand over Litecoin. But we've kind of bottomed out here. You know, there's been a few days where we haven't gone lower. It's begun to move back up. And so this is the kind of time that I want to look at swapping some coins for Litecoin, as the Litecoin price is going to start to move up against Bitcoin. So if we zoom in a little bit here to a 4-hour chart, you can see that we've kind of entered into this cloud where, you know, again, this is graphing kind of the price of Litecoin against Bitcoin. So as it goes up, it's saying that Litecoin is kind of getting, you know, a little bit more value per Bitcoin. So if this can break out of the cloud here, then I'm probably going to go ahead and make my trade, because we are out of a big chunk of resistance, and then we're just kind of, you know, there's less resistance overhead, so there's more chance that the price will just kind of run. So if this can do it, then I am going to make that move and go ahead and swap. Again, not all, because I do want to hold like a core position of Bitcoin, but just a little portion of it. I might switch into Litecoin and try to make a little bit on that. And then if this, you know, goes up and starts to top out and maybe starts to fall again, that might be a good time to swap back and get back into Bitcoin. Now, the Exodus wallet, if you guys have that on your computer, or if you're holding your Bitcoin in there, it makes it super easy to switch out. You know, they have an option on there that allows you to swap your coins one for the other using Shapeshift. And so that's a quick way that you can make these little trades and profit a little more, as, you know, Bitcoin just experiences a natural kind of topping and maybe a little release here until it can make the next kind of push higher. So that's something I've been thinking about. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but the trade looks like it's starting to set up pretty nicely. And so I figured I'd give you guys a heads up just on what I'm planning to do on that. So I also wanted to look at Ethereum. So Ethereum moved up to this kind of $300 level, and it's just kind of been holding there. Still hasn't broken the blue level of support, so I don't really see it pulling back short term, you know, next week or so. And maybe is going to, you know, push up to another leg higher. Ultimately, I think this could even get to like about a $500 level. Old high of like 420. So yeah, definitely I think 500 is in play. Definitely bullish. We're above the cloud here, and not much resistance on moving higher. So I am looking at Ethereum. It might also be good to swap some Bitcoin for Ethereum right now, just because I don't have a current Ethereum position, and I kind of missed this run, so it might be good to get some in here while it's kind of consolidating before it moves higher. The other thing I want to point out is the Dash chart. So yesterday I was kind of looking at Dash, and I saw it up at 360, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? So there's this huge surge higher in Dash, although it's pulled back some today to about 291. And I have a little bit of Dash, but I didn't expect this move, so I might look at getting some more of that, although I probably want the price down. Let's see, where would be a good, maybe like a 260 level. If it can kind of drift back down to that, I might consider getting some more Dash. If not, I'll just kind of let this move higher kind of play out, and maybe just see where a good pullback entry would be. The other thing I've been looking at is this Pay token. And this is by a company called 10x, and the symbol is PAY, P-A-Y. It hasn't been trading super long, so the daily chart's not really relevant. But if I go to a 4-hour chart, we can see that we broke below the cloud here. So it's kind of in bearish territory, but it's been rallying lately, kind of moving above these resistance lines. And if it can get above the cloud at maybe a price of 0.0011, so 11.6 to Bitcoin, then that could be a great entry, and this thing might start to run higher, as that would be basically like a cloud breakout on the Pay token. So definitely been watching that, and I'll have to see how that plays out. But if it hits its head on the cloud and turns back again, then I'll probably not take this trade and just end up kind of waiting for another trade setup. So another thing I wanted to point out is the gold chart. And let's go back to the daily because it shows it a little bit better. But we had broken out of the cloud here in gold and kind of drifted back down to test the cloud, and then sprang right back up from that. Pulled back to the blue layer of resistance, but didn't make it down to purple and turned back higher. We actually broke 1300 on Friday, the last trading day. So gold's still looking pretty bullish to me here. These support lines are getting out of the cloud, and we're getting a positive cloud forming here in the future. So this is still looking like a good setup, and even though the dollar has strengthened a little bit lately, gold still seems to be holding this kind of march to 1300. So I'm really kind of watching this, and if it can get back to 1300 and eventually kind of break out, that could be really good for a new kind of move higher in gold. And also, similar story in silver, although it's lagging gold a little bit, but still able to get out of the cloud here, and has pulled back to some blue lines and is able to it looks like it's kind of consolidating a little bit, but I think this has higher prices in mind as well. Definitely looking for the metals to start getting in on the bullish run that kind of the cryptocurrencies have had. So the other thing I wanted to point out was just the Genesis mining payments. So the thing here is I used to have daily payments from Genesis mining, and it was like clockwork. I mean, everything was on time, pretty much. The previous day, you'd get a payout. This was like kind of before July, the end of July, and then things kind of went crazy with the payment systems, and even though I feel like I have gotten all the payments that I've been mining, the payouts have been a little erratic, and they've kind of talked about having this kind of 2 days of payouts, so that you aren't getting everything daily, but it kind of gives you a big chunk for in 2-day groups. But I really haven't been thinking about upgrading my mining contracts until all this gets a little bit better resolved, because I feel like it has been a little bit sporadic, and I want it to be more consistent. And if they do get back to daily payouts, that would be ideal, because then you can just track it every day of what's happening, and I feel a little more comfortable with that. So I'm just holding off on upgrading for now until they can kind of get this worked out, and I do think they will, but it's just making me a little bit nervous for right now, even though I have been getting everything that I sort of am mining. It's just a little bit more sporadic than I'd like. So anyway, if you guys are thinking about that, I just encourage you to kind of hold off until they can get this resolved a little bit, and then should be good to go. So that's all my thoughts for today. Just wanted to kind of run through that, and I'll look to make another video here, either when I make a trade like swapping my Litecoin, or another kind of crucial point in the charts. So anyway, that's all I got. Talk to you guys later. All right, bye.